And the whole point of this project is this feedback. We want a virtuous feedback. More eelgrass then filters more sediments and filters more nitrogen, and it kind of spurs itself. That's the whole idea, is can we understand how a virtuous feedback cycle like that could be set up, and how does that affect our management goals? Different water patterns over there, that could be because of the eelgrass. And what the eelgrass does is it slows the water down right above it, which is actually helps in terms of water clarity. And then when the water slows down, the sediments that are in the water column have a chance to drift out of suspension and join sort of the bottom. And that's one of the fantastic things about eelgrass.
Well, I'm going to cut it here.
Yeah, this is like a foot.
Here we are, right in the thick of it.
With their roots. But because they have roots that they have to sustain, their photosynthetic responsibilities, if you will, are much higher than seaweed. Seaweed doesn't have to, make all this energy to feed the roots. All they have to do is feed those really, look how flimsy these things are, right? This stuff that's just floating, drift, and it almost like disappears when I try to pull it out of the water, this red stuff, which we could call Heterosiphonia japonica for now. It really doesn't require very much light and energy to maintain itself, but it certainly blocks a lot of light, right? So that's the reason why this project exists. That's why all this energy that we've all spent around trying to get the eelgrass to do as well as possible is occurring, is because of that balance. What it does for the sediment, what it does for food webs, what it does for storm surge.
I wanted to show you this though. I pulled this up a minute ago, and this is and I'm learning this from my collaborator from Keene State, Cynthia Hayes. This is a flowering shoot, and so this has pollen that it generates. This is how the eelgrass reproduces, and it also has seeds that it generates. And there are actually seeds in this that are eventually going to drop out and get transported by the flow and get trapped into the sediment somewhere. So these seeds can be released at some points. If the eelgrass gets ripped up, and it can get transported.
Piers? If I'm giving it a grade on its Great Bay piers, it's an A. If I'm giving it a grade based on what this was happening here in the late 90s, it's a C+.
So it's got a ways to go.
It's got a ways to go. I think the biomass we've estimated was around 250 grams per meter squared here, right now. Back in the 90s, it was up in the 400s. So not only are we way down in terms of the amount of where the eelgrass is, we're down in terms of biomass, in terms of density. So you're right, but this is some of the best eelgrass in the Great Bay.